Hi everyone, this is Ashraaq from MotorMag. Today I'm interviewing Kelum Wijayawardhana. He's a very young and dynamic individual who's doing a whole bunch of things in the automotive as well as non-automotive spheres. So Kelum, to start off with, tell us a bit about your background in terms of your education and your exposure to the automotive space.
Hi Ashraaq, thank you for having me here. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. By profession, I'm a mechanical engineer, and I've been with cars from my very young days. I've literally grown up with cars. I've been meddling with them since my small days, which led into me becoming an engineer once I grew up. And this whole concept of machinery, mechanicals, and everything involved, everything with a motor fascinates me. So that's how I got into this industry, and how I proceeded to become a mechanical engineer. And automotive is one of my specializations.
Cool. So Kelum, tell us, so what are you currently involved with at the moment?
Okay, so when it comes to the automotive industry, I'm currently working for a company called Modicon Automotive, where we make we make automotive components locally in order to meet global automotive standards. So there are global automotive standards set by global manufacturers, like the principals. Those are the car makers. So we make components in order to meet those standards. And in this process, I meet a lot of engineers from different automakers, different backgrounds, who are into different kinds of they have different kinds of expertise. So engaging in this, I gain a lot of knowledge, which is I guess which is required by us as a country, and as youngsters, in order to go forth. And then coming back to my hobby, I'm having a brand called Kelum WG Projects, which you might know, and that's my hobby. Apart from that, I'm a co-founder, director of Limitless Productions. Limitless has been in the industry for the past 6 years, and we are into automotive loyalty rewards program and also into events. And also, I'm the managing director of the family clinic, which I partnered up with Dr. Sunet. We are actually a digital health platform. We do COVID home care, online consultancy, and also home care visits. So those are my involvements currently.
That's great, Callum. You've got quite a bit on your plate. I'm just going to focus on your hobby for the moment, which is working on cars to enhance their performance. Now, I had the chance to sample Dr. Tarindra Dalpatado's Daihatsu Copen that you had a hand in, and quite an impressive car it was, quite a different animal to the regular Copen, I would say, which of course can be read on our website, our feature on that. So tell me how you go about this, tell all of us, how do you go about this process of, enhancing the performance of cars? Your hobby basically.
So it's like this. So the customer would come to me with a requirement. So example, Dr. Tarinder's requirement was to make it faster and to improve the acceleration of the car. That was the initial requirement, but based on that, I would take it as a whole project, whereas everything else also should improve hand in hand, because if it goes faster, it should definitely handle better and stop faster. So when it comes coming back onto Tarinder's requirement to make it go faster, I drew a project outline as to how we're going to go about with it. And firstly, I would do a project outline and then calculate and weigh out the options, and also explain to the customer why we are going ahead with the certain parts or the certain components that we are suggesting to fabricate. And then going forward, we would also bring in the cost feasibility versus the gain, because example, if you're spending a lot of money for something which gives you a little gain, that's not feasible. So on Tarinder's car, we actually did the intake and the exhaust, and it already had a few other mods which needed to be tweaked in to match the other modifications. Example, the boost controller, I had to set it accordingly to have the boost match the modifications, because there was restrictions for the turbo, and it was hitting boost a little faster. So we had to tweak all of those things. And also I did some logging to check on the intake air temperatures, etc., etc. And so all in all, it's a whole package that I offer.
So tell me, Kelum, as an engineer, what is special about your approach, and what are the ultimate benefits to the car's owner and the user, who may or may not be the same person in some instances?
Yeah. So it's like this. Now, coming to me, I would give the customer insights of what is being added, how it's being added, and why it should be added. Because I believe the customer should know why certain parts are going into his car, why he's spending, and whether it's worth, right? And I take an engineering approach on that regard, and I would talk mostly it's numbers that I would talk. And in this process, the customer will learn and go through a learning curve where he learns about this technology, because I believe personally the customer will go on this journey of modifying cars and changing cars. So whenever he buys a new car, he could apply this knowledge that he has in order to at least to explore and see what is possible with it. And so that's my approach, and I believe that's the specialty as well involved.
So going back to your early stages of your hobby, you told me earlier that your first car was a Maruti 800, which you did quite a bit of enhancement on. Now, the Maruti 800 is one of those cars that, one doesn't really think about as, being tunable. It's just reliable, dependable, solid family transport kind of thing, right? So tell us a bit about your work on that Maruti 800. How did you turn this, very, very regular car into something a bit special?
Okay, so the Maruti has been in our family for a long time with the other cars that we had, and I actually wanted to do some changes to it, and make it a little special. So I started off with little bolt-on modifications, but later on I did some heavy modifications to the engine, to the gearbox, the suspension, brakes, and it was amongst friends and amongst the community. It was called the pocket rocket, and there's a lot done to it. And even the engine, it had a high compression engine, coated, polished head, and also the exhaust was changed, intake, throttle body, filters, then spark plugs, ignition cables, ignition timing, everything was changed on that. So it was more or less running a custom setup. Even the brakes were Brembo, brake pads were Brembo, and there was a lot involved in that. And all in all, it was a really good car.
Well, that's quite interesting, Kelum. I mean, that shows us an example that, pretty much almost any car can be taken as a blank canvas and made, tweaked a bit to suit the owner and the driver's requirements and tastes.
Of course.
So tell me, Kelum, do you see yourself turning this hobby into a full or part-time business? Because I can see there's going to be a fair bit of demand for it. I mean, you've got me interested as well now.
Currently, I believe in Sri Lanka, it's a niche. So I wouldn't be turning it into a career anytime soon. But of course, I would give it some thought about converting it into a part-time business. Because the problem is I don't have a lot of time in hand, and these projects take a lot of time in order to tweak it and fine-tune it. So I would actually consider making it a part-time business in time to come.
That's great news, and I'm sure that there'll be quite a few of our viewers who are eagerly waiting for that time. In the meantime, Kelum, we have a lot of young viewers who are into cars, and they follow our social media and our magazine and all that, and of course they want to make their car a bit quicker. So what is your advice for these laypersons out there who want to make their car a bit quicker but just don't know where to start?
I would say the best is to define what you want from your car, and then start on from there. Because if you don't exactly know what you want out of the car, you can't really get to where you want. So you need to define what you want and go on with the plan, and make sure that you consult somebody who knows what they do, and then make a budget and approach it. Because if you go on without a budget, then sky is the limit and you would end up spending a lot of money. And I don't think you would get the output that you expect for what you pay.
Thank you for that, Kelum. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today, and I'm looking forward to featuring some of the other cars you've had your hand in as well. Thank you once again from all of us at MotorMag for speaking to us today.
Thank you, Ashraaq and the team. Thank you for having me.